You said go. Where'd your face go?
I think I have it. Okay, I think I have it. I was trying to pull up the question that we're supposed to talk about.
Okay. Hello.
Hey. We are back. We were laughing because spiritually I've been at like a really, really, really high, but emotionally it's been a hill for me. It's been a roller coaster. And Sue's kind of going through some of the same stuff, and we've committed that we're not gonna meet and talk to you guys. We have our own conversations, but we were not gonna include you in those conversations while we were not at our best space emotionally, because we didn't think that would be fair to you. So we just really scrubbed each other in and out on where we are. And we both realized that we were at a good space at this time, which is 12:08 p.m. my time, 1:08 p.m. her time. Right now we're in a good space so we can record. 2 p.m. we may not be. So that's why we need to do it while we are. I don't know, Sue, what you want to add in?
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Hi. No, you said not our best emotionally. I am my best emotionally that I could have been in the moment. So not too bad.
Good.
But yeah, just so wherever you're at is always good enough.
That is always good enough. Yeah. It's just, it was something that my dad said to me the other day over a man who doesn't know his limits is a dangerous man. And that's so true. Like if you don't understand where you are to know the capacity that you can go, you'll wreak havoc on yourself and others around you. So you got to be aware of that. But you're right. We're at that moment, we were our best selves at where we were, but we couldn't give anything else past that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've had some questions. We've been receiving some questions. And are you okay with just diving right in, Sue, or do you want us to chat a little bit?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So there was one conversation. I'm going to mute my face for a bit because I actually have to go in it. Again, we're so honored when people message us and tell us we don't want to put names or anything, but we just want to put the meat and potatoes out. So I'll just send a conversation from the first one that came. The message said, "Girl, why did I find out today that several years back when my daughter was staying with her dad for the holidays, that she went to a family member's house, and instead of pulling her aside to talk to her about body odor, young puberty, he has enough trouble adulting, let alone taking care of the kids. Her supposedly, quotations, loving grandmother, instead of pulling her aside and saying, you need to go to the washroom and wash your piss, asked, who is that smelling like that? I'm sure knowing full well who it was, said, who is that smelling like that? And her quotation aunt said, that's her, in front of all the family. Now I'm fighting the urge to call her all the pill popping, welfare fraud, and tacky classless bitches she is. And my response was, I'm just so sorry. You're entitled to feel every feeling, to breathe through them and process and not move yet, but keep protecting your babies. And then she said, to make it so bad, there was a time when I had been helping this raggedy bitch while she was so fucked up. She was passed out naked in the house, taking raw breakfast sausage out of the fridge, thinking it was hamburgers.
Wait, is this part necessary? Or did you
just... good point. Okay, yeah, I'm just reading. Oh, thank you for stopping me. I'm like, okay.
No,
so yeah. So I just said, so I asked her, is it okay for us to chat it out? And she says, yes, I'm trying to be a better person, but obviously it's still fresh in my daughter's eyes because she's crying about it to me now. And I'm fighting every ounce of my being not to hurt back the way you hurt my child. Only I was wrecked for years by narcissists that quotations grandma created, so I guarantee it'll be nuclear. Okay, yeah. Thank you for letting me know when because I'm just reading down. So thanks for letting me know not to get in the weeds of it. Thank you.
Thanks for accepting the request. And because I think it seems normal in this kind of dome that we're in here and now, to want to justify revenge or something. But I don't think that that's our natural state or what we should be striving. I hate the word should. It's not what I want to be striving for or communicating. And then also I always kind of cringe when I hear the B word.
B word, yeah.
Yeah, because it is a violence against women word. So like, of course, it's okay for women to say it if they choose. I personally don't use it, and I don't like hearing it. It triggers me, honestly. But yeah, so that was just one of the things I want to point out, because listening to it, I was like, oh, as justified as you think you might be, just understand the damage that can be perpetuated through all of the words we use, not just words like that. But yeah, that was just kind of haunting me. So I wanted to get that out while it was
No,
in real time.
absolutely. No, I already know this. Yeah, I already know this
You know
about you.
this
So
about
that's why I was
yeah.
like, go ahead. Yeah. And to the person who wrote this, she's not saying it's an issue with you particularly. This is just her own trigger that she's speaking on.
Yeah,
But
yeah, so.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I totally understand. So it's actually ironic that my train is here that I'm not taking. It's actually ironic that I had a very similar situation happen with my dad and my daughter, because my daughter is going through adolescent stage now too, and she had left some stuff at his in the restroom, girl stuff that she should have removed, and he didn't tell me about it. He woke up and he went right to her when she woke up, and he whispered it in her ear, but she was still waking up, so she didn't hear. And so he and I were talking again, and then she came in the room and he told her, come here, and he whispered it in her ear again, and she smiled and said, okay, I'm gonna get it now. And she went and took care of whatever it was. So I asked him, like, Dad, what was that? And he told me, oh, she had left some stuff, so I'm just letting her know to do it. And at this time, this message had came through at the exact same time. And so I asked my daughter, how did that make her feel that she was corrected that way from her granddad? And she was like, oh, it felt great. Actually, I didn't mean to do that. And I'm glad that he told me about it and didn't embarrass me. So I say that to say that it is a right way to go about it. And obviously the way that they handled this situation with your sweet daughter was not the right way at all. And I hate that this baby had to continue to relive this trauma over and over again because she hasn't been able to process it yet. And as mothers, it's really hard for us because we want to take the pain away from our babies. I know for me, when I see trauma that happened to my daughter, I want to fight the world and beat the world up and everything. And although that's good being mama bear, it still doesn't help that rawness and that pain that they feel. So I had to start doing my therapy while my daughter was doing hers. So when those moments hit, she can like cry and rest and put all her pain on me, and it still doesn't stay on me either, because then I process it in therapy or amongst my friends too. So we are able to push it out of us, because that's another issue that I've learned is a lot of times as women, we carry that trauma in our bodies, and that's when it starts affecting us in so many other physical elements too. Suzie, you can chime in because I'm just running my mouth.
No, that was perfect. And I just, we've all gone through an experience like this, right? Very unfortunately, body shaming is very common, I would imagine, for all women. And when we go through this stage where we're entering into womanhood, instead of having a conversation with an older person or mother, female caretaker that we trust, we do get called out. I would be called out by my brothers, and then after the fact, my mom would be like, oh, you need to shave or what, and then it's still, like, you need to change and something's wrong with you. So I was just like mortified when I was going through change because I didn't know that they were coming, first of all. And then when they happened, it was just like, oh, something's wrong with me. So then when that's the reaction from the people around you, and the adult grown-up people who you're supposed to be able to trust, of course, it's very, it negatively impacts how we view ourselves and our ability to, trust our bodies even, which is a really important thing, that takes away from all sorts of experiences and these kind of unfortunate situations that we get into adulthood. So I can't speak from a parent's perspective because I'm not one. So that's why I just added from my own and, from my background, how it's very common to be same, just kind of ridiculed for something that's so natural and so beautiful and normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I've had so many experiences. I don't even want to take up everybody's time going off of learning about puberty. I mean, guys, I'm a triple D now, but when I was growing up, my nickname was Nipples, because that's all I had. And I would literally, hey, be careful what you ask for, because what I did learn is when you ask this should come, I literally used to like sit like this and I used to be like, grow, grow, grow. I did that like
Get into existence.
I did that in the day and at night. And now I'm like, don't grow, stop, shrink, shrink. So yeah, like, yeah, puberty, it really is hard for girls. And I'm loving the things that I'm seeing now with my daughter's doctor, because we have a woman doctor. When she told my daughter, you're getting older, like, let's start looking for a puberty party, for you. And she is like, I don't want that, I don't want that. But the more the doctor took the time explaining it to her, the more she actually was more interested in it. Because even my baby, as much as I'm big and open, society isn't. So sometimes to her, she thinks that mom's like a cuckoo nutcase that always want to talk about everything, and society doesn't. So even for her, it's confusing sometimes, where it took her doctor and her godmother to go that extra length, where she's like, oh yeah, well, this will be super cool for us to do this and have this experience together.
Sure.
Yeah. So
did we answer
so
her
yeah,
question?
I hope so. And listen, guys, if we didn't, can y'all add some experiences or some ideas in the comments? And we can always bring this question back up. So reader, writer, if we did not answer and it was something specific, you can always write us back and we will tackle it again. But we just want you to know that you're affirmed in your pain and your daughter's hurt and that experience. We are very aware of how narcissistic abuse works. We're proud of you for even getting yourself out of that situation. Proud of you for being aware of it, and proud of you for continuing to grow through it. You are definitely on the right path. Just keep going and keep doing the work in yourself, because when you do the work in yourself, it's going to help your daughter. It's going to help the work with her too, because we know that you're breaking generational curses, mama, and that is not easy. Yeah.
Helps yourself, helps your daughter, and the world. All of us.
All connected. Do you want to go to the next one, Sue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So this one was actually sent by a guy. Let me find it. Again, if I go in the weeds, stop me, because I'm just trying to get the information out there so we can discuss it. I'm not trying to be petty. And again, we're so honored by the information given out, but we never want to put personal information out on anyone. But let me find it. I thought I had it somewhere else, but I didn't. Okay. So there was a text thread that was sent to me that said, how often do your wife go on a date without the kids? He responded back. This was a girl that sent it. He said, just went on Friday. That's a random question. She said, I'm debating something with someone, but how often? Once a week, once a month? He said, probably once a month. Once a week is irresponsible. She said, irresponsible, question mark. He said, sometimes we don't go. Yes, you are responsible for the children you bring into this world. It is no one's responsibility but yours to watch your children. I'm assuming he called her at that point, and she said, I'm on the phone, laugh out loud. I was saying I wanted to go on a date with my husband at least once a week. He said, tripping, that's unrealistic. Also, bills are higher. Daycare, mortgage, diapers, and child activities. She said, marriage keeps looking less and less appealing. He said, single mom life is better, question mark. She said, no, single, period. He said, if marriage is unappealing, then you want to be single. There are only two relationships. And then I don't know, it cut off from there. Yeah, he's only two relationship statuses. And then he sent it to me and said, thoughts. So my response was, before I answer this, I don't want to be in a trick bag. I have questions. What does her hubby do? How far do they work for one another? How old are the kids? Are they all his? How long have they been married? His response was, she doesn't have any of that. She's single, dreaming up requirements. Am I wrong in what I said? She has no kids and is single. I feel she's being unreasonable. I said, okay, that makes sense now. What you said is not wrong, but how it was said, perhaps we can work on it. He said, I tried to call, she would not answer. And then I said, she'll call back. I know your heart's in the wrong spot. Men and women have been hurt for so long. We have to be gentle with our words for a bit until we hear each other. I do understand your frustration, though, on someone living in fantasy land. You want to shake them and yell, wake up. But honestly, that just makes them call you crazy and stay there. And then I asked for permission from my friend and I to discuss it on the podcast, and that permission was granted. So Suzie, what's your thoughts?
Do you want to share yours first?
I kind of shared mine in the initial conversation, but then I don't know. I could continue to add if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. So because you're saying that he's not wrong, right? And that
okay,
once a month, take it or leave it, whatever.
Okay, so I'll explain what I mean by that.
Please, yeah.
Okay, right. So my question was, when I first got the text thread, I assumed that this person was already married. So then I would have seen what was the dynamics of the partner and the dynamics of the marriage automatically. But then when I found out that this wasn't even someone in a relationship, let alone a marriage, I was like, okay, see, this is one of the problems that we have, particularly Black women, because we don't have too many examples of safe men. We continue to allow Disney and other things to plague us, to give us the mentality of what we think is reality, which isn't. And so she could very well have a husband who can take her on date night every week. I'm not saying that she can't. I'm just saying that date night might be looked at differently. He's going to have to make a certain amount. She's going to have to be willing to probably let some other things go. She's going to have to look at compromises to get there. Date night might be grocery shopping for them. It might be, running errands at that time, especially when you have young children, because he is right, childcare and things like that. I think that this was just a conversation that needed to take time. I definitely don't think it should have happened over text. It should have been over the phone. But yeah, I think that when you start getting into living your life and living in your purpose, sometimes you might not be able to do every week. It sounds like quality time is probably her love language too, to me, why that's very important. But when you're dating somebody, they will kind of already see that, and things like that will go. Like, I don't want to take too much time in this conversation, but there is going to be a conversation that we're going to have, which is the difference in dating and the difference of relationships and the difference of engagement and the difference in marriage. And so you will know that as you go on to see if your purpose is aligned. But if currently your only focus is just the quality time with the man, but you're not as focused in what your actual purpose is, that's why I'm like, okay, I see his frustration, because I could tell that he loves her and he wants the best for her. He just doesn't know how to say it appropriately. And he's trying to get help to actually help her. He just doesn't know how.
Yeah, so he can come in with his reasons why he wouldn't be able to. And so you kind of spoke from the parent perspective, and I'm busy and the kids are expensive and this is what you're coming into. This is the reality. So I'll speak from the single woman, no kids, who has time spent being very important in a relationship perspective.
Yes.
There would be things that I would want to know then. So the why can't we have date night every week? So if it is there help with the kids? Can they stay with an aunt or uncle or grandparents once a week, or and swap every other week so one family member isn't overloaded? Is that a possibility, or is that a likelihood? Because I am coming from this lifestyle. I do have money. I do go out every week, and I want to be able to do that with someone that I'm in a serious relationship with. Or if you can't do that, I'm not going to marry you. So those are things.
Absolutely.
That's where she's coming from, that she doesn't want to lower her standards just
Yes.
because you've already got some kids.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so I think that if they're right for each other or willing to find compromise for each other, then they'll be able to come to a conclusion or a solution. I'm not going to say what that is, but I don't think we should pressure women to automatically cave to what dude wants, because hello, that's like kind of what got us into this position to begin with. But yeah, so understand the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Advocate for what be honest with yourself. If you really are going to need that in order to feel secure in your relationship, make sure that that's an expectation that's in place. And if you say, okay, yeah, we're gonna fall in love, and I do love his kids, maybe you met them, and if you haven't, you anticipate that you will, or I don't know if you're gonna want kids together, whatever. Yeah, then if you can start to make compromises, like Shonda said, that yeah, maybe the dates will be with the kids, 1 week a month, and then whatever. So those types of things to take into consideration, not to like stonewall your partner, but to say exactly what each other
Yeah.
realistically is able to do and what each other wants and needs. Are you still there? You froze. Or did I freeze? Hello? Are you back? There you are.
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with what you said, and that was kind of the
You're cutting out.
like, yes, that's exactly what we mean, because it can be both. And it can be added additions to it. I don't want to go in depth with it too much, but I know one of the mistakes that I made for a while, and many women that I talk to, is we led with our sex instead of our femininity. And I think that when we learn to lead with our femininity, it exudes who we are. That means that we actually started doing the healing, and we actually believe that we are who we are. Not that mean girl stuff either. I ain't talking about that bully mean girl stuff that walk around like you have an airness about yourself, that you're better than everybody else. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you have this thing where you actually heal and you know who you are, it's very easy for you to start knocking people off of your list anyway in dating. And then the ones, it is going to be harder to find the one who is for you. But if it was easy, then everything would, be easy that way. So it's like, this is kind of, I think, a journey of getting back to who you are first, and actually the expectations. Because like I said, like Susie said, like you would, and like I said, you would learn these things in dating, in the dating stage. If he's not available to date you once a week and that's what you need, then he ain't the one anyway. If he's not available to call you 3-4 times a week and that's what you need, then he's not the one, or at least not in that season. So yeah, if we didn't answer that question, brother, let us know. We will definitely go deeper to see how else we can do it. But yeah, but I just want to make sure that and if others have any comments that they want to add to it, please do it and comment below, and we can talk it through too. But Sue, what else did you have to add in that one?
No, just because you mentioned healing being important so that we don't rush into a relationship in a physical way more so than in a like total person way. And I think why healing is important is because the reason why we do that is because we don't feel safe. Like it's a very root chakra activity to be participating in. So when we only see ourselves in terms of I just have to survive, then our relationship's only going to be patched together with those things, with just animalistic types of activity and satisfying those urges as they emerge or whatever. But that's not fair to you. And that's not gonna give you what you need as a whole person in a relationship. It might be fun or enjoyable, and maybe not though. Maybe there'll be some like heavy stuff around that, right? Maybe there'll be guilt, maybe there'll be it'll bring stuff up for you, and it'll contribute to other emotional processes and difficulty. You talk a lot about difficulty in being able to leave someone once you've established that connection with them. So there is something, I said chakra, but spiritual about how you are connected to someone when you start to participate in anything sexual. So that's just something to think about, and why we're always so, that's why we're here, talking about how healing yourself and your psychological and spiritual injuries is so important, and being able to move forward in your life and have healthy relationships, not just romantically and sexually, but everyone you come into contact with, that you're not coming from a place of fear.
Man, that's so good. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I had to mute myself because, I get too excited and I get to talking loud like the lady in church. Hey guys, how y'all doing? Look at these nice little cops over here. So, yeah. So that was good. That was so good. I don't even want to add nothing to that. That was delicious all on its own, Sue.
Sorry to steal from your lines, but yeah.
You better steal it, child. You better. What? Listen. Okay. So on to the third and last topic of the day.
Another question. Yeah.
It was the video that you sent yesterday.
Okay. It's a tough one.
Yes. So I posted it. Oh yeah. We're gonna do it. We're going in. So I posted the video. It should be popping up any moment because even though y'all see me posting stuff, it really be me and Suzie. She just don't post. But we set it up to post on schedule. So sometimes if y'all call us or text us like, man, that post really resonated, let us know which post it is, because we're just as shocked as y'all are when they hit, because we don't remember when we posted. We like, I needed this today too.
We tend to have memory. Do you ever forget things really easily?
You too?
Yeah, we've both been diagnosed with PTSD. One of the symptoms.
Yes. One of them, yes.
It revisits the friendly reminder of itself every now and then.
Every now and then. So don't think that because we forgot in a moment, like we're being ignorant, or we think that it's obsolete, or we don't think that it's important now. It's just a part of what we deal with. We really want to remember. We really want to know. And so don't get annoyed if we ask. So you want to give a synopsis of it so we can discuss it? Or like I said, we're going to post it so they can see the video. And then, but do you want to?
Speaking of memory problems, yeah, she was basically saying that, or the biggest thing that I got from it, like the headline, I guess I would call it, would be how she started off saying that there was this real insistence from the church or Christianity specifically to forgive, and if you don't forgive, you're wrong. And that she found ways to heal without that she could still be angry at people and still be healing or still be healed, or however she wanted to word it. And that's absolutely true. During my healing process, for a long time, I was angry even at God, and that was a very safe place for me to direct my anger. He totally understands, or God, I don't want to call God, he totally understands, whatever. So it's not that, well, what did you want to say? I gave the synopsis, I guess, and if you wanted to add more about what it was about, but that was kind of the takeaway for me. It was like, oh yeah, that's a
discuss
really, that
it,
was
or how do you,
really,
what do you think we should do?
that was so sticky for me, I think is why it jumped out at me. But she did talk about a lot of other stuff that maybe I just don't remember because I have
Yeah,
PTSD.
yeah, totally understandable. So yeah, I was saying that it's it kind of split my hat as a woman that follows the way and follows my daddy God, and also a mental health advocate. But I understood both roles very clearly in that video. And so she went through a lot. Like when she told her story, I think so much we're so big at trying to just say, oh yeah, but and diminish someone's trauma. That's the first thing that we need to stop doing. We need to
Correct.
stop diminishing people's trauma, and we also need to stop comparing it. Stop saying, well, I had much worse than you. I don't care what you had. And you don't get a right to tell a person how to
Not
respond
about
from
you.
their trauma
Yeah.
either. So you can stop that. All right, I'm off that soapbox now. So back to it. She's been through a lot on both sides of her family. And she was going through a lot. And so growing up in Black, I heard from her that she already knew a lot of church, religion, and things of that nature. So when a Christian hears her talk, they will automatically want to correct her and say, oh, but you must forgive, because then you won't walk into the kingdom of heaven, and you won't do this and you won't do that. But then diminishing all of that pain that girl has been through. And
Right.
that's where we lose our people at a lot. It's because we continue to just yeah them and continue to just try to push the cross. That's not who Jesus ever was. He never pushed the cross on people until he healed them. And he never pushed the cross even then. They followed him because of who he was. He never forced it on them. And so we have to be mindful of that as ambassadors of Christ, what we're doing. That's my soapbox on that. But as a mental health advocate, I'm so cheering for her that she was able to unwire and look at these things and process them and say, even with her choice at this moment of saying, I currently choose to not forgive, I understood why she said it, where she's at, and I respect and just go alongside her and just say, how you doing? And just say, sis, you've been through a lot and you came a long way. And I'm cheering your journey on, because you gotta break this curse over your family so your children don't have to go through it. And that I applaud her for. So if that makes any sense, I know some church folks probably still won't understand what I'm saying and think I'm going astray. No, it's just, you don't see it yet, but you will if you do the work. If you take those religion goggles off and you actually stop being fake and phony with yourself and fake and phony with God, because he already knows the truth. And if you really go deep and you really start pulling out those emotions and that pain, and you really go into that trauma that you think you don't want to talk about, I think you'll start seeing where she's
Did you mute yourself? Are you done? Yeah.
coming
Okay.
from. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, mic drop. I just muted myself.
Yeah, excellent. So the response that's given from that kind of dogmatic Christian, but it's not limited to Christianity by any stretch of the imagination in terms of stigmas on mental health go across religious communities and their dogmas. But then I would say that it's not necessarily just within those religious contexts either. Like even from a secular perspective, people are very dictating and how you're supposed to feel and how you're supposed to respond. So us people in general, whether you're coming from a scripture-based background or a faith-based, reason for insisting that someone should just be okay or trust God or whatever, or the non-religious mindset of just the stigma that's in place around mental health, that like, oh, you're exaggerating, or these, one-upping people. I was fine, so why can't you deal with your stuff? Very unfortunate, very sad. But so when someone trusts you enough to disclose any of this stuff, it's really important to listen. And so if they're asking for advice, maybe then you could give it, but in a way that's really sensitive to what they're going through. Oftentimes when someone gives this advice, whether inside or outside of the church or religious kind of rationality, there's the best intentions behind it, but the way that it comes across to someone who's really struggling is anything but that, right? So like, it doesn't matter what, insert whatever your example is, and I'm just thinking of what I've been told. that's great, but that's not where I'm at right now in that moment where I'm really needing just a gasp of air or to, get some wiggle room or to be able, I'm really just exploding at this point and needing someone to talk to because like that's literally I just need to be seen and I need to be felt, right? Like I just want to know that people know that this is what I'm going through. So when you gaslight people with religion or, well,
I'm like, I'm
therapy is
done.
not for us.
Thank you for using that word.
You're welcome. Yeah, because that's what it is, right? When you're denying someone's experience or telling them that what they're feeling isn't real, that's real, that's gaslighting, and that's not, it's never okay, especially when someone is really like scraping for some sort of support and they're coming to you for that. So whether you're just caught in the mix or you've been approached, I don't know if our audience is probably both. So whether you're struggling, I guess it's hard to have that grace, but it's helped me to kind of understand where people are coming from, that they meant well. And that helps me because, so in this video, she was saying that she impossible won't forgive these people and they're, bad people. So I don't know if I want to share my conclusion that I told you before. Did you cut out? Are you frozen? Are you still here, Shonda?
No, I'm here, but if you don't feel comfortable sharing it, then don't, because that means that it's not time yet. And when you feel comfortable, it'll just come out. So just hold off on it to the next one.
What I can say is that when you insist on someone forgiving, whether it's a toxic family member or an assailant or whatever, a perpetrator, then when someone's at that stage of healing, I never want to call it illness, at that point in their experience, that's really like the last thing you want to hear. And it's not because you need to hear it, it's like the last thing you can really wrap your head around, and maybe the last thing you could do at that moment. So to really insist on that is really just inauthentic. It's so it's like you're ignoring that person and what they're trying to communicate and express to you, or whether they're trying to or not, or whether you're just catching that. To really say that this is the only way to do it is always probably wrong, right?
Preaching, child. You preach.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to heal, and there are so many different stages of readiness to get to something like as huge as forgiveness, whether you think it's important or not, or whether you think it's possible or not. Like that's really, you need to honor where this person is and what they're going through, because that might really cut them off from access to whatever kind of help you might be able to give them when you're like so dictatorial about how their healing needs to look for you, right? So that you can feel like you've done your job. This is not a job to be performed. Again, this is just to know that someone is there with you, maybe not walking through the same difficulties that you are at the same time, but there's an immense need for community in healing. So instead of having these agendas in place, I really hope there can be just more of a space creation where we can be with each other through that, because ultimately that's like the foundation of getting through these oftentimes really difficult or dark places and processes.
I mean, mic drop. Yeah, you nailed it. You literally, boo, you better. So look, y'all, if you guys have anything to add, if you want to correct us, because look, we are not therapists, we ain't professionals. This is just us talking from our experience, our own research, and just the travels around the world that we had. So don't be trying to sue us for anything, because we ain't got nothing for y'all. No, seriously. Definitely always test what we say, research it, look it up for yourselves. Like we don't ever want you saying, well, they said it, so I just blindly follow. Don't blindly follow anybody or anything.
Absolutely.
Susie set up email accounts. She set up one for me. I'm just not a good steward right now with doing what she told me to do regarding it. But if there's any questions or comments or concerns or questions that you want to ask us and you don't feel comfortable sending it to us in Messenger, you can send it to the email address. Just send it to both. I asked. So even if I miss it, Susie will pick it up until I get my life together with that. And yeah, we're so honored, seriously, that y'all even come with us in this space and actually ask us questions. And I can't even put into words how much of an honor it really is that you trust us with the vulnerabilities of your life, seriously. And we don't take that lightly at all. Like, this is something that it took us days toiling about this because we want to make sure that you understand the gravity of our appreciation for it. But Sue?
Amen. So yeah, are we closing? I just want to tell everybody that there's nothing wrong with you. You're amazing. Thanks for tuning in. Nothing wrong with you.
Bye.
Bye.